Welcome back to Big Mistakes in Real Estate, where we come bringing the heat for you guys in real estate, for the real estate professionals, to enhance your career. And today is another one of those days we're bringing the heat with the talented Mr. Frank Salas, who's going to be talking about how to use a virtual assistant in your real estate business. Stay tuned right after this.
Everyone makes mistakes, but these mistakes can cost you thousands in commission. Are you a real estate agent? Then listen up and learn from the Big Mistakes in Real Estate podcast with your host, Isaac Ocean.
Ladies and gentlemen, by now you probably know that I am the host of the show, Isaac Ocean, and we are coming to you today with the talented Mr. Frank Salas, who had been a real estate agent and ran his company from Colombia. Yeah, the country, not Ohio. Yeah, the country. That's insane. He used virtual assistants to catapult his business, often called leverage, to catapult his business to the level that he's at now. Mr. Frank, welcome to the show.
Yo, you have an epic intro, Isaac. Isaac, thank you so much for having me on the show. One of the best shows I've been on in an insanely long time. It's super refreshing just to have like the intro, the vibe. I'm digging it already. We got to vibe before the show. Shout out from Medellin, Colombia.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you having it on the show. So I found a little bit of backstory about how we met. We met on YouTube. I just literally 4 days ago hired my virtual assistant. By the way, she's going to be editing this. Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for all of your work. And I was looking on how to hire and how to manage, and I was looking at YouTube videos, stumbled across this man's gems, YouTube gems, people, and I reached out. I sent a comment, and he said, yeah, I'd love to be on the show. So here he is all the way from Colombia, and this is the first time I talked to him. His VA scheduled everything. I had no communication with this man until he called me. So thank you for coming on the show.
Yo, I'm excited to get in because, I'm what I call a recovering realtor. I actually fight the urge to get my real estate license back. So I was licensed in the great state of Texas, but as I moved over into the investor side of the business, having a realtor's license, it can get you paid on potentially both sides of the deal, which is like the allure, the attraction to it. But it's a little kind of like you have some handcuffs on you because it just looks a little... There's some potential there for some slippery slopes is all I'm going to say. And so I focus more on international real estate these days, and we're doing international vacation rentals. We like to acquire groups of properties and, put our monies in there and just watch things grow. Right now with COVID-19, our current inventory just sucked. But now we're getting into, long-term nice deals, bigger packages, scared investors who, they're a little, what's going to happen? They're a little uncertain. We're like, hey, don't worry about it. It's okay. Here's some money, but not what your property's worth, a little bit less. And so that's what we're playing right now. And we're just trying to play a long-term strategy. So, we're adapting like everybody else. And I'm really excited to be on the show today.
Now, obviously, that, first of all, is awesome, by the way, congrats. But this show is for real estate agents, not real estate investors. And that immediately, whenever you say investor, is going to turn some people off. Do not turn the show off. This is where it starts to get good. This is where we're going to go over some incredible strategies to really leverage your time so that you get it back for your family, or you get it back and can put it and actually work on the business, not in the business. So, Frank, this is the way I got to pose it because it's big mistakes in real estate. So Frank, what was your big mistake in real estate when it came to virtual assistants and being a real estate agent?
First things first was the mindset about it. At first, they were doing little things, just like the basic things, admin tasks, but I thought that I had a super important job, but I had to go to, 2 weeks of real estate school in Texas to get a piece of paper and drive people around and, have sushi and sake with people. I thought that I was this realtor person, and it was ego. And then I realized if I really wanted to be of service, because that's what real estate actually is being of service to people who are looking to make a a real estate transaction deal, how could I, Frank Salas, the realtor, the licensed real estate professional, how could I open my capacity if I thought of myself as my business? Because I was, self-employed, but real estate is a business. You could have a team, you could have a buyer's assistant, you could have a shower system. There's different ways to leverage your onshore staff. But I didn't have at first my mind or my eyes open to the offshore staff. I was like, oh, they're only doing basic things. Until one day I started monitoring my time. Like, where was I actually spending my time? And this is an exercise that I do with my clients now. So it's called a time journal exercise. You journal everything they do, and you ask yourself 2 questions. First question is, number 1, did I need to do this? Was my creative genius needed to get this part of the day advanced? And then really ask yourself that, like, through a egoless base, because once you do that and do some inner work there, you'll find a lot of stuff that you think that you should be doing is not there. And the second question is, did this make me money? And if the answer to that question is I wasn't necessary to be there and it made me money, you're onto something. Now we're into that leverage thing. And so for me, I started off with broker price opinions, because BPOs, and that's where you appraise properties. You're saying, hey, this is what I think it's worth. And I started having my assistant contact the BPO companies. I started having them, reach out, and the applications crazy. They have their softwares, they've got their processes, send it to this person. We need it like this. No, we needed this format, not this, like all the little things. And then we created an SOP, a standard operating procedure around that. And that is like our Bible. This is how you do your job every single time. One of the biggest mistakes at first is I was just kind of sharing knowledge like a caveman. Hey, Isaac, this is how you make fire. Ooh, 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 ooh. And sometimes Isaac makes a big fire. Sometimes he makes a medium fire. Sometimes he makes a small fire. It's unpredictable. But if I said, Isaac, these are screenshots, videos, step-by-step instructions. If you have any problems, don't ask me. Don't ask Google. Don't ask YouTube. Everything has been figured out right there. And people from all over the world have been able to figure this out. Here you go, Isaac. I'm going to go play golf. See you later. I'm going to go network with the client. See you later. And so that's kind of the vibe and the mindset that I had evolved to. But going back to the CMAs and the BPOs, I thought because I had my own special formula, my own secret sauce or my own secret recipe to really do CMAs a certain way, that made me of the most value, not only to my clients, not only to my investor clients, not only to my to the BPO people, the bank people, but just to me as a realtor. And then I remember, like, that's just a formula. It's like a recipe. So I did what I call with my clients now, we do a process called downloading your brain. So whatever you do and however you do it, download it, document it, process it. And you expect, and this is a big distinction. Like, if you're hiring a VA, or we call them remote professionals, we have a higher standard in our organization. We call them remote professionals. If you're working with somebody overseas or from a different culture, like, things over there are okay. Like we talked about earlier, Latin America, punctuality, mañana, it's okay, tranquilo, like, don't worry about it. That's okay in their culture. And you, as an American capitalist entrepreneur who's choosing to hire somebody in a developing nation, that's a choice you're making. You also have to make a choice to communicate your parameters in a completely different way, because they don't understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur, number one. They don't understand what it's like to be an American, number two. But most importantly, Isaac, they don't understand what it's like to be an American consumer making a $100,000 decision or multi-million-dollar decision. They can't fathom that. In their culture, and this is not just, Asia. We actually work, so we have an outsourcing organization called Salas Staffing. We work with Latin America, Eastern Europe, Africa, the Caribbean, and, India as well as Asia. But all of these second and third world developing nations, the way they're brought up is, this is how many kids you have. Think about this, Isaac. The government tells them, society tells them, this is how many kids you have. This is when, like, the hour that you go to work, this is when you step out of work to go out and do 15 minutes of stretching. Imagine having people in America get the heck out of their office to do 15 minutes of stretching and have that be normal. Like, that's the culture that they're in. So you have to do a lot of hand-holding to these people. And for some people, that's like, oh, that's overkill. They should just get it. No. If you want things done a certain way, you need to specifically say, Isaac, this is the game plan. If you're not going to run the game plan, I'm going to put another quarterback in. See you later.
And I'm running into something very, very similar to this with my experience with my VA. Because first of all, I'm a real estate agent. And if you think you are amazing at training and you think you're the new Gary Keller and you're going to come out with the best training in the world, have at it, because it's really freaking hard. So you have to come up with the systems. And what he's talking about is, how do you do the CMA? How do you do it? And then writing and documenting step by step by step by step how you personally do it, and then showing your VA that. But what he's talking about is he has systems already for your virtual assistant. Virtual assistants do not last forever. They have a different mentality. They will not last on your team for 20 years. Don't expect that. It's, there's not retirement plan here. But they will last a long time. But what the point isn't the point that a virtual assistant or a virtual professional is going to quit. That will happen to you. There is no argument there. The fact is that when you have to train another one, how fast can you get them back up to trained so that you're not wasting your time training another person? Am I missing the mark, or is that spot on?
You're 100% on the mark, and to augment that, to stand on top of that. That's just to protect you. That's just to protect your risk. Let's look at the reward. Let's say this person that you're working with, after that time of training and development, they get it. They're like, okay, your systems are now improved. Our communications are now improved. We're running together. This is going good. Now the stuff that they're doing at the basic level should be given to somebody else. And that first person, if they have strong system, if they have strong communication, is going to instill that culture in that system to that second person. You don't have to go through that pain point with that second person. The first person, in their own native language, will explain to them, yo, this is how Sir Isaac likes his coffee.
I really like that your training comes from their native language, because that's the other, my my virtual assistant's in the Philippines, and she is amazing. But I don't have my training videos. In the Philippines, I'm lucky because they do speak good English. But if I were in another country like India or Colombia and I couldn't communicate that same way, but the training came into their language, that streamlines that whole entire process. That's incredible. I actually didn't know you did that.
Yeah, and so we're more of an implementation outsourcing agency. That's why, I would like to have more of a relationship with the people that I engage with, because the way you want your business, all of us are entrepreneurs here. Like, our business is really personal to us. And I had a period of my life where I only worked Tuesday afternoon to Thursday morning. The rest of the time, I literally enjoyed life. But during those 16 hours, I was on, and I had systems and processes to sustain that lifestyle. And that kept me going. After a while, I changed my lifestyle a little bit more. Now I'll have days where, hey, for these next 3 weeks, I'm not checking email.
Nice.
And the systems and process are like that. Now, I'll still have emails responded to. I'll still get my correspondence happen. But Frank Salas doesn't take his mental capacity to even engage in those kinds of things. So it's all, but you may want to be like, no, I'm an investment banker for multi-billionaires, and I'm on this encrypted military line. And okay, totally, that might be you. Let's set up a system and process around you. But, coming back to the real estate, because that's where I got started in this whole thing. I'd been outsourcing in my very first business, but when I really hit with my outsourcing was in the real estate business. I got my first multi-million-dollar deal on July 4th when I was on a boat in Lake Austin enjoying life. And the reason I got that is because my phone needed to be answered. True, that's a fact. As realtors, our phones must be answered. Got to answer the phone, but it don't got to be answered by you.
Amen.
It just needs to be answered. And so what I did is I developed shifts. I had near 24-hour coverage. I was 18 hours that we had. So we had 3 shifts. We had morning, midday, and then we had evening. And they were doing my follow-ups for me. They were answering my calls. I would only speak to people that were qualified. So we did a lot of bandit signs where we would put, rent to own. This was to build up investor clientele, blah, blah, blah. And those get a lot of calls. I don't want to take those calls. I want to take the calls that get screened from those. Oh, I got a guy, Isaac. This is a gal, Isaac. We qualified them, Isaac. They're ready. Okay, put them through the bat phone.
Is your ringtone whenever you get a text, is that the Mario sound whenever you hit the coin out of the thing? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Spot on. So I started the interview with the PlayStation mug and you got the coin, my people. Okay, so here, we're going to play a little game. And this is called Can It Be? Can it be outsourced? So let's play a game. Because I know what my responsibilities are as a real estate agent. So let's see what can be outsourced. So advertising. I send out postcards every month. Can that be outsourced?
So yes. And here is my process for that. It just correspondence like that, even just like emails, postcards, even handwritten letters. I'm the brain. So this applies to everything that you're going to ask me on this next whole segment. You and I are the brain. Your listeners are the brain. They think the idea, but the remote professional or the virtual assistant, they are the arms and the legs. You tell them where to go. So I write the copy or hey, and so for me, I'll always write because my clients know that I travel, because it's very well transparent with them that I'm not in the country, that I'm selling them real estate or doing business with them. They like that. And they're like, hey, or I'm like, hey, I'm currently in Colombia, and I take a selfie of me like with the mountains or like on a cruise or at the beach, something like that, and I send that to a guy or a gal on my team. They make it look pretty and put a little crop around it, and then they put it in the email, and then they say, okay, this is it. And they set up all the funnels and all that, and the text message and all that, and they handle all of that. But I wrote the message. The message comes from me. It is a personal communication, but I'm not going and doing the copy, click, paste, build, all that. Right.
So then on top of that, let's throw out another one. What about CMAs or BPOs? Do I have to do those, or can they be outsourced?
So I would not share this with your banking partners, but they can be outsourced. And so, yeah, have your assistant do the CMA, follow your formula. If you don't have one, we have one for you. What needs to be done is somebody, not you, but maybe you for the first couple of times, needs to go out there and take photos of the actual property. That is a process. Before, you used to be able to get away with like using Google Maps, but now they caught on to that. They're like, no, we want to see the actual thing. So they make you go to the property and take a photo. So what we have done in the past is we've, paid assistants inshore or onshore, nice people that are looking for extra income. Just go, hey, I need you to, here's $50, go take this photo, boom, boom, boom. I pay $50 this person. The assistant costs me, anywhere from, $2.50 an hour to about $5 an hour, depending on their English level, really, and maybe their experience. So I'm probably all in $64. The bank's paying me $135 to $300 for BPO. I'm coming out on top.
Amazing. So remember, we are not lawyers. We're not offering law advice. Every state has different laws. So to figure out if that's right for you, you need to do your own research. If you get in trouble doing this, it ain't my fault. Period.
I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't know you.
So, okay. So now we can outsource BPOs. We can outsource CMAs. We can outsource. What about contracts? Getting back and forth with the contracts, or setting up appraisals or inspections. Like, can we outsource all of this stuff?
All of it. So I actually have a masterclass made specifically for real estate agents. Like I said, I'm a recovering realtor, and one of the things is your paperwork. So there is a checks and balance, just like at least in Texas. In Texas, before I submit a document through the Board of Realtors here or the Real Estate Commission here in Texas, I've got to send it to my broker in Texas, and he's got to give me okay, because he's legally liable for all the shenanigans that I do, which is another reason why I'm not as a licensed realtor anymore. So let's say you and I do a deal. I say, hey, I need you to make an offer for 1.5 to Mr. Isaac Ocean, at 123 Fake Street, and these are the terms. We're using this title company with this blah 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 blah, and they'll type up all that, and and I want to keep the alligator in the swamp. If there's no alligator in there, I'm going to fine them $1 million. If I don't find no alligator in that swamp, like whatever special conditions I can put in there, they'll put it in there, and then they'll send it to me. And then I'll once over it, I'll approve it. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I'll sign it. Then I'll send it to my broker. And then my broker does his thing. And then he'll let me know, asking for a gator's out of line, Frank. We need to take that off. And then they'll send it over to that. So that's our process in Texas. I can't speak on your state.
Right. And that's why I said every state is a little bit different. Make sure that you check your state out because each one is a little bit different. So this is amazing because I'm going through, and again, I just hired my own VA. So I'm trying to see maybe I should hire another one. Maybe I have more stuff in the real estate side that I could offload. And now that I'm talking with you, this is probably something I'm definitely going to do because that is I don't know about everything, but like the contracts and whatever I can offload, especially like the monthly advertising. Now here, I can hear all of the questions and issues that all of the listeners have because I literally was a week ago in the same position before I hired somebody. So I have a list and some questions I would like to ask you, my good sir.
I'm ready.
These are what I'm worried about. And then you just knock these out of the park because this is legit and I was freaking terrified about this first one.
Isaac, before you start, can I just share with you that everything that you're about to share is 100% valid and in some way, shape, or form, either myself personally or one of my clients has probably gone through this a few times.
Right. Okay, so perfect. You're the perfect person to ask this stuff too. So my virtual professional, I'm worried about them stealing my passwords.
Very valid, and it has happened. And all you got to do is set up systems and parameters around you, and it's just a way to operate. I love that mug. I wish I had a home so I could have a mug to choose you with, but I don't. I travel so much. I live out of a suitcase. I don't have anything. I don't buy things. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm sorry, remind me what we're talking about. I lost my train of thought.
The VA stealing your password, like sending your password for Google or YouTube or MLS. Like, are they going to go in there and just destroy everything? What's going to happen?
Yeah, so I'll give you the worst case example that happened to me, and you'll get some ideas of what choosing to get into this work is like. So I have created layers around myself. One of my emails is frank@talentedmrsalas.ph. I call this my dirty email. This is where I get dirty, and this is where I give access to a lot of my entry-level employees, people that, I haven't worked with them for a while. Like, you get in, boom, 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 you get access to some whatever, and I'll have files up there, photos that I paid money for, of me, of the business, logos, blah, blah, blah. And I had a lady from the Philippines. They have this custom called the 13th month. And so in their culture, it's normal in the Philippines only on December to get paid the 13th month. You don't have to ask for it. It's just normal. It's like the sky's blue, sun is yellow. It's normal. It's her whole life experience. And in our organization, we clearly say, we're an American company. We only give you Christmas Day and New Year's Day off. That's it. We understand that you're this, and this. Here's our vacation policies. Here's how you ask for time off. But these are our policies. We don't respect, we don't honor, not that we don't respect, we don't honor your holidays or your customs or your cultures. There's no bonus pays. We clearly say that in our agreements. She signs it, boom, boom, boom. So I'm sharing this with you because we went out of our way. She watched the video. She watched the training. She signed it. She spoke to a person in her own language. She received the message. She bounced it back to the person that received it. She sent it to her in her own language. Christmas Day comes. She doesn't get her bonus. Like we told her how we were going to behave. Then, next day, all my emails are deleted. All from that email, all of my photos. I'm talking about probably about $17,000, $19,000 worth of video editing, photography, graphic work. Of recent work. For just gone, deleted. And so I wanted to share that first because that's what could happen. There's a solution to that, but before we get to the solution, let me walk you through the prevention of that. A prevention of that is we use a software called LastPass. There's other ones out there, but LastPass is a great one. I like it because it allows you to move, invite other people. it's just very helpful, especially if you're doing, maybe some more online internet marketing business work. That it really comes in helpful there. Or maybe you're managing multiple accounts. That's helpful as well. Like maybe you have like a residential line, a rental line, and an investment line. That's what I did in my real estate practice. I segmented my brand to attract, and I had VAs or remote professionals run those different social media accounts to attract and deal with those people, which is very helpful to just segment my traffic and segment the handling of that. But yeah, it's getting the contact information. Bottom line is getting you as a realtor to negotiate a deal on a phone is the end goal. That's what only pays us. So you and I, as a real estate professional, we only get paid when we negotiate deals, and everything else that's not negotiating deals doesn't get us paid.
True.
So the appraisers, the inspectors, all of that, if you just put a system and a protocols, and we have literally for all of that, timelines, templates, all that to send out already. If you just give that to somebody and say, here's your playbook, follow this script, there is going to be some space where it's like they got to learn, and you got to have that coaching moment. But once they get it and you have a good person, it's
awesome.
Like,
yeah, it really is. It's just awesome. So there is a way to protect your passwords. It is called LastPass. I personally use it. My man over here uses it too. It's awesome. You send the link over to the person. They never get your actual password, but they can just log into YouTube, Gmail, etc. So if you decide to let them go, or if they quit, you can just go in your LastPass and kick them off of everything. It's super easy and super fast.
For sure, and so there is some little tide notes here or tidbits. I would like for people to change their password monthly, because you just never know. And even though you're sharing your password, they can easily find it. If they know what they're doing with technology, they can easily find it through LastPass software. LastPass isn't bulletproof. None of the password sharing softwares are. I just like it because it's it's easiest to work with, entry level. There are stronger security ones, but that's there. And then finally, with the Gmail situation or the email situation, all I did was I went to Google and I said, "Hey Google, had an employee, this blah blah, this will happen." They're like, "Cool, give me about 8 hours and we're gonna re-upload 40 terabits of data."
Right.
Perfect.
It's nice and easy. That protects you. Again, it's not perfect, but it is 99% pretty safe. So how much?
Anything.
Yeah, right, exactly. And how much should I have to pay my virtual assistant? Dude, I do not have a $10,000 a month to pay some virtual assistant that I have to train. This sounds terrible and expensive.
Yeah. So what's crazy is if you are in America, Canada, Australia, the UK, or Spain, you live in the top 1% of wealth in the world, and most countries have a regular monthly salary of about $400 a month. $400 a month will get you a entry level person for full time. That's $100 a week. But I don't even want you to be thinking about that. It's $250 an hour. But I want you to think about yearly. Yearly, that's $5,000 a year for one human being to work 40 hours a week.
40 hours a week.
Year.
Right.
So I always say this. You are a realtor. And this is the choice that I had to make. This is what it clicked for me. I was going to hire an admin assistant. Her salary was $30,000 a year. So one person, $30,000. Or I literally wrote out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then I said 40 hours a week. And then I was like, what's 6 times 4? Or 240 hours a week. 40 hours a week or 240 hours a week. And I was like, I'm going to get way more done with 240 hours a week than this. And that's when I started rolling with teams. So for me, I like to roll with teams. So for every initiative, I have my own executive assistant for that initiative. And they're kind of they're the in-between. I don't want to deal with the entry-level people. It's painful. It gives me a lot of headaches. They don't listen. They're like, yes, Sir Isaac. Sir Isaac, yeah, whatever you say. They never tell you no. And they never tell you no because it's rude. It's impolite to tell somebody who's paying you that they're wrong, that you don't listen to them. That is, how dare you? That's the difference when choosing to working with these kinds of people, Isaac.
There is definitely a cultural difference, and I could be wrong, but my initial impression with my virtual professional is that she just wants to work. Like I asked her some personal questions, and it was not, it's not like the United States. Like you don't necessarily need to make small talk, or am I mistaken? Because I could be completely wrong because I don't know. This is a genuine question.
Yeah. So this is my advice is, especially with your first hire, and if you're doing it on your own, me personally, I always advise people to never spend time on the phone or on a Zoom or on a video call with that person. Instead, I would rather spend that time to create a system. So instead of jumping on a call and say, hey, Miss VA, let me show you how to run this Squadcast thing. Instead of doing that, I would map it out on a piece of paper. I would document it, and I would give that to her and say, hey, here's how I need the Squadcast thing done. Because if she can't get it, which is a strong chance, or maybe she gets it, but something happens, and there's a lot of things that can happen, we can put somebody else there and say, okay, that person didn't work out, here you go. So our saying is, yo, Isaac, I'm not the boss, you're not the boss, the customer's not the boss, the employee's not the boss, the system is the boss. Always.
Very cool. That way you consistently get the same product no matter what employee does it. It's just based on systems. So the other thing that I'm worried about is my credit card. I need this person to buy me some Amazon gifts or to buy gifts for clients who just had closings or whatever. I want them to use my credit card online, and I'm terrified. Again, LastPass. That's pretty much LastPass. Am I wrong?
So you're not wrong. There's a more secure framework though.
Oh, really?
So LastPass is a great entry level. I love how you just adapt. You're like, boom, okay, easily. So that's a good fundamental. But to upgrade that, to get to the advanced, is so we have an employee spending account, and it's just like a regular company. Again, this is where I don't view them as virtual assistants. We explain to them, you are a remote professional. Just because there's no office building here doesn't make this environment any less business-like. And so really, if you give them access to a spending account, number one, you can get your points off that. There's a lot of benefits there with your bank. But number two, you can limit it. So like our business accounts are all individualized. So if you were one of our assistants, say, hey, Mr. Isaac, here's your business account. You have a $125 limit. So for anything $125, like I trust you with making that decision. And I think this is in the Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, where he's like, this is where I got this from, I believe. He's like, if something's going to cost less than $125 fixed, Isaac, I trust you, man. Even if it's the wrong thing, I'm cool as $125, man. It's cool. Even if you take $125 and run off, which, by the way, Isaac, $125 in the Philippines, $1 is a little over 5,000 Filipino pesos. So you're looking at about 6,000 or 7,000 Filipino pesos. You can feed a family of 5 to 7 fresh, veggies and some meats for a month for about 1,500 to 2,000 pesos. They could live for about 3 months off 125. This white dude, this American guy from America, I got his access. I'm gonna gank him for 3 months of living expenses. Okay, yeah, that sucks, but it only costs you $125 to learn that, you should not work with that person.
Yeah, it's not a very expensive lesson to learn, even when you learn one. And $125 is like nothing. And not only that, could you imagine? Like I'm thinking, before I was a realtor, I worked at Starbucks, and there is no way in hell my manager would be like, "Oh yeah, here's a $125 spending limit. Anytime something goes wrong, just go take care of it." I would have been an awesome employee. Because $125 can solve a whole lot of problems, like basic problems that now you didn't even have to know there was a problem. By the time you know that there was a problem, it's already fixed. And that's the beautiful part. As long as you're VA, you give them that freedom to go do their job. They want to do it right. And that's important.
So I used to think like that, Isaac. I used to believe in the unicorns and rainbows and happy endings, but it's not like that. It's really not like that, Isaac. You have to tell them, this is how I need stuff. Some people are empowered and some people are there, but you have to say, these are our parameters. So Isaac, here's a $125 limit. These are the approved purchases. These are how you handle these approved purchases. You still kind of have to guide them, because on their own initiative, if they have $125 and there's a problem, they're like, here's $125.
Right. And that's
as opposed to solving the problem,
That's a pretty amazing thing. And we're going to be right back right after this.
Are you learning? Good, because that's the point. But do me a favor. Subscribe if you have not already. And if you're feeling really frisky, give me a review on your favorite podcast player. Now back to the show.
Boom. Me and Frank are loving it. I love that we're dancing here while my commercials are going on. Thank you. Because that's what I have to do, because a lot of these are recorded by myself and I'm sitting here in my studio.
Yo, we're dropping gems up here. My man's asking the right questions. Leave my man a 5-star review.
Boom. You heard it from the man himself, Mr. Frank. So I have a question for you. We're wrapping up. You brought a ton of knowledge and a ton of help. So where can people find you? Is this still at Talented Mr. Salas, Salas, on Instagram?
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram at Talented Mr. Salas. I'm constantly traveling. You can find out what I'm doing, what I'm up to. You get into my mindsets and really understand the difference when it comes to my principles and values with scaling and hiring globally. I think it's very possible, but I'm very realistic, and I literally go to these places and recruit from these actual locations, and you'll see it in my Instagram. So that's why I like the engagement there. You can see my stories. I post every day. And I just kind of show you what life is like in these areas and, really cool things like that. So I really appreciate the opportunity to give back to the real estate community. My first multi-million-dollar deal was with the real estate community, and I did it while I was traveling. And it was like, it was a game changer for me. And real estate's been just a blessing for me. I don't know. I was telling Isaac, I don't personally right now own any stocks. All of my monies go to the real estate game because I just believe in it so much. And, having these conversations with the real estate community, I hope inspires you, because there was a time when I was stuck in Austin, Texas, as a realtor, making 6 figures, enjoying life, but I would be in traffic for about, 3 to 5 hours a day, literally every day, because I worked almost every day at that time. And I didn't really like life, at least that part of life. And I would listen to podcasts, and I would look at, because traffic was so slow, like I would look at Instagram and I would see people traveling, and I said, oh, I wanted to do that. And that idea, Isaac, for me, really sparked this whole thing, because I wanted to travel but still be involved in real estate. Gave me that sense of urgency to create that systems, business protocols around me as a realtor, that then gave me that freedom to move on from that and kind of graduate to the next level of my career. So I just, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to get back to a bunch of realtors. If you're a real estate professional and you're looking to scale your income, take the bones, or take the meat and throw away the bones, but increase your capacity. This is really possible. And if you really want to engage with me, I've got an outsourcing agency called Salas Staffing. We specialize in real estate. I have other realtors just like you that are licensed, that are making millions of dollars of sales right now that you can speak to on the phone. And if we get to that part of the deal, I'm going to triple dog dare you to call them, so you can see that it's all fact, brother.
Amen. And not only that, but remember, guys, you don't have to just go hire a full-time virtual assistant. Dip your toes into the water. Get comfortable with it. They can start part-time, 10, 15 hours a week. What, you're out $30? Stop being cheap. Give me that 5-star review. Jump on Odesk or call this guy and hire a virtual assistant, and do those today, right now. Put out your phone. Calling it. So do you have anything else that you want to drop for our audience, or...
Yeah, so there's one thing that we didn't cover that I always want to make people aware of. We all come from good hearts and good natures, and I have actually experienced clients and personally experienced the bad side and dark side of outsourcing. And so a lot of these people, especially if it's your first time working with them, is one of the things they do is oh, Sir Isaac, we have a lot of power outages, or my internet is a little bit slow. And they'll give you that good service, what they're capable of up front to win the job. But then the honeymoon's over and they'll start to dip. And then they'll start to bring things up like, my computer's slow, Sir Isaac. We don't have enough power today. There's not enough gas, little things like that. And they're going to start to, hey, $20, $50, $100 for a generator, $200 there. Isaac, I guarantee you they are doing that to at least 10 other people, not just you. And they're giving that little bit of oomph to win you over up front. And this is not all of them, but I'd say it's about 40 to 45%.
Wow, that's a big number.
But looking at their shoes, $100 here, $20 there, man, they're living 6-figure income equivalent over there. So
Wow.
just be very mindful of that. What we do is we actually monitor people's screenshots every 2 minutes. And we also have an activity tracker. So if their keyboard or their mouse movement isn't moving, they actually get clocked out. So a lot of people don't track time. So they'll be like, oh, Isaac, I was on the clock from 9 until whatever. They're like, yo, what'd you do?
Yeah, right.
You know? Oh, well,
Do you know my mouse and my keyboard don't work while Netflix is on? It's a thing.
You know?
It's a thing.
And so having that screenshot shows you what they're working on. It tracks their applications, their websites, their URLs. And we also get a report. But most importantly, if they're not doing things, it clocks them out after 2 minutes. It is impossible for them to ride the clock. But at the same time, it stops at 40 minutes or 40 hours for the week or 20 hours or whatever. Like we don't, nice. We don't openly offer overtime. We don't overwork people. If they've got to go, potty or take a bio break, like, hey, don't freak out about clocking out. Just go handle your business, come back. If you come back when it's 2 minutes, like, we're not tripping, it's just like, we're just trying to work. So like, it does give them that freedom for the people that are there for the right reasons. So having that transparency in your business is really helpful. We also deliver people that send out daily reporting. I find that daily reporting so this is what it looks like for us is, we have a general chat. We use Slack. Slack is a free tool that all Fortune 500 companies use. And it's basically like a walkie-talkie. It's free. It's a walkie-talkie for businesses, and you can have like your inboxes, your appointments, this address for this deal, this investor, whatever, and you can just like have different channels to communicate that. But we have a general chat where the whole company or the whole team goes on, and they say logging in, working on daily checklists, number 1. So everybody has their own daily checklist. Finish with daily checklist, number 1, working on daily checklist, number 2. I can verify what they're working on. I can by their communication, by their screenshots, but also they send me an email at the end of the shift. So I get the little Mario ringtone at 5 o'clock. Ding, this is what I did, Sir Frank. But at the end of the day, in 2 different places, they have to tell me, this is how I paid for my salary. So there's a part in the email that says, I paid for my salary by doing this. And then in the chat, Isaac, in front of the whole team, the whole company, all shareholders, they have to say, this is how I paid for my salary today. And they did it yesterday, they're doing it tomorrow and the week after. And it's a constant reminder of this is why they're here, because a lot of, just like in America, a lot of people think it's a privilege to have a job. Yo, you costing me money. If you're not bringing an ROI, why are we doing business? This is a business transaction. So I know that it's really good to come from a whole heart and centered, I want to give back. Trust me. When you pay somebody an entry-level salary of $400 a month, in most places, they are making top 3% income for their country. If you're paying them above that, they're making top 1% income. This is an opportunity for them. If they're not treating this as an opportunity, fire them and find somebody who will, because there's millions, if not billions, that want to work with you. So once you have that mindset and you realize that you've got a system and this is a mutually beneficial relationship, but it's mutually beneficial. It's still a business deal.
Yep, it is. And I want to throw it out there too, because one of the things that I loved about your YouTube channel and the value that you brought was you brought stuff that I didn't find in books. So you brought up the fact of the 13th month in the Philippines, and my VA is from the Philippines. And I know you're going to be editing, and this is your first video you're going to edit. And I want to tell you, on the 13th month, you will be getting that too, because that's your culture. I should not have to change. I'm coming to your country, and I want to help out and evolve to your culture. So that's the way it should be. We're treating people like they're people, but not being taken advantage of at the same time. Sounds right?
Yeah, and that's a personal choice. Like, we choose not to make those
Sure.
because our goal is to get them acclimated and aligned to American culture. But if you choose to, out of your kindness, it's not a have to, it's like I want to, but like they still shouldn't expect those kinds of things. And no matter what, there's a security blanket for each situation, as long as you come prepared, as long as you put layers around
Right.
everything.
And that was an amazing interview with the talented Mr. Salas. And you can find him at Instagram now on
the next episode of Big Mistakes in Real Estate.
Guys, I'm going to be real with you. I lied. I told you Monday was going to be the episode on checklists, but my checklists are not up to my standards that I got back because I want to make sure I can put them in the show notes for you to download. The checklists, honestly, they suck and they're not going to be going on the show. So I have to wait one more week while I'm getting them re-edited so that they're up to my standards for you guys. And again, this has been an absolutely amazing interview. Thank you so much, Frank, for being on the show. You can catch new episodes of Big Mistakes in Real Estate every Monday at 4 o'clock. And you can listen to these anywhere in the world. So, Mr. Frank, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys next week.